Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome to another day in the Milky Way. Of course, it's pretty cold up here up north. Well, Kent's going to join us tonight, if you haven't noticed, from even farther north than I am.
Yeah.
And Trina's here. And here is Ms. Amber is ready to join us too, all on time.
Awesome.
Thank you for all coming tonight. And as you've already seen, that I have on this best scarf thing. It's also doubles as a hat. And I got this nice warm hat on that Crystal McArthur makes. And you can find that. And she's making lots of them. And you can find that, go to her channel. The link is in the description. And if she's in the chat room, well, you can talk to her all about it. But she's making these hats like crazy, and she's keeping me warm, and you can have yours too. How about that? Welcome, Amber.
That's awesome.
Howdy.
Glad you could make it. We got a special guest. Kent decided to show up for once. He's still in his car driving here, but he hasn't made it quite yet.
Yeah, that's good.
How about
That's good.
Hey, we'll take it any way we can get it.
Whenever I can get you, I'm roping you in, Kent. I tell you.
Yeah, that's, you know, as you get older, you just take what you can get, right? That's exactly it. So,
Yeah.
Amber, what do you got? What are you drinking tonight?
Some mineral water.
Mineral water. I got tea.
And some
Wayne
wine.
would be proud of me.
mixing the mineral water and wine. Yeah, that sounds like a good combo.
That's right. A little minute water. You balances out. My mother always used to tell me, she says, if I eat a candy bar, which, you know, isn't very good for you, I eat an orange or a banana to balance it all out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if that balances it out so much, but hey, here's to you. I got peach flavored tea. I got peach flavored detox tea. That's what
Beautiful.
I have. Yes.
Nice.
Healthy.
Yes, exactly. Trina, what are you drinking tonight?
I'm drinking water and coffee.
And
I'm
coffee.
thinking, boy, I maybe should have had some wine because the energy's been crazy. It's crazy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So yeah,
Hi, everybody. Hi, Teresa. Hi, David. I love you guys all. Hi, Brian. Mom. Hi, Brenda.
yeah.
I love you.
Milky's
Hey,
mom's here,
Brenda. Hey,
Brenda.
everyone.
Yeah.
David Castle is here. He got in here early. I think a lot of you were over and listening to David Null. He had a great show tonight. If you didn't catch it live, you go right on over there and re-listen to it because it was really good. A lot of powerful energy, which really souped us up for tonight. Amber, I bet you were catching some of that. We were putting out some powerful energy earlier.
I had a great day. Yeah, my day was really nice. I went to the lake, took my dog there, and it was beautiful. So I had a good day.
Yeah, well, I
Awesome.
worked and I had about 20 degrees. No lake in today. Yeah, yesterday was 10. How about that? It was 10.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why we're going. That's why we went, to get ahead of the game, because it's about to get cold here too.
Yeah. Enjoy your last days of fall. Trina, what's the weather there? You got at least probably 90
degrees. It's very warm, and it's like, yeah, we got some serious chems going big time right now. So yeah,
Well,
and we haven't. And so yeah.
Well, when I go on vacation someday, I know where I'm heading.
Yeah, come here in the winter because it's so beautiful.
Yeah. Are you
it's really
northern Arizona,
perfect
Trina?
temperatures in the winter.
Huh?
Northern Arizona?
Northern Arizona is, it's up north, so it gets snow and everything else, just like, cold country, but we don't get as much as most people. But where I'm at in the valley, Phoenix, it never snows. It's always like, you can be in the pool in December, no problem.
Wow.
Yeah.
That blows my mind.
Especially if you're from the cold. I mean, the water's chilly for us, but you guys are like, oh, this is nothing because you're used, yeah. So yeah, people who come here from cold places in the winter, they're swimming, biking, hiking, golfing, just loving their life.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
My mom and I are thinking of going to Sedona soon.
Oh, let me know. I would love to meet you up there. It is so beautiful.
Oh, that would be awesome. Yeah,
yes,
I will.
A magical place. I love
I've never been there. I'm like, ooh.
I've never been
Yeah,
there.
I tell you, I went to that Mount Zion. Oh, wow. That is a beautiful place too. Holy moly. Yeah. Wow.
It would be a good travel trip, especially if it's
Oh God, it
Yeah.
would be so great if a bunch of us could get together and go. Oh, that would be fun.
Yeah, it'd be good to get
be
together
and
have us all meet.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good. A real good party. Yay!
Yeah.
I just have to wait for the border to open up so that I can come
Absolutely. It's like, let our friend Kent come play with us.
Yeah, please.
Yeah,
so they locked you out, literally locked you up there, huh? I mean, it's locked down good. Wow.
You should see it. It's actually funny. Right now I'm in Calgary. I was saying that. So, I'm kind of above Montana right now, but usually I'm on the West Coast.
Yeah.
And on the Canadian side of the border, like there's no military. I mean, nothing. On the U.S. side of the border, because I live right on the border, it's actually comical. It's like trucks and machine guns and trucks and machine guns. Canadian side, it's nothing. It's absolutely nothing. You can just walk on in. I mean, this whole concept that factions, countries, rulers, everything own rights to this world and actually put up these imaginary little lines, and they call them countries and they call people good and bad where you are, is one of the biggest hoaxes against the true spirit of humanity there ever is. I mean, it's a con game.
There's somebody in Canada right now, Kent, that's actually putting together a class action lawsuit, a pretty big one.
Against the COVID. I know against the whole thing as being like basically, I heard that. So, and
that might be powerful because they're working on that, which is they're working on jurisdiction and some different stuff. So if this stuff gets some traction, you guys are definitely going in the right direction.
Well, I mean, it's like as far as the country here and our political leaders and stuff like that, we have like the equivalent of a Joe Biden that runs Canada right now. I'm pretty sure that Trudeau and Biden and all of those guys get together and have little parties together, and God knows what goes on at those parties, but you would not want to attend. But that's unfortunately the way that it is. But yes, it would be nice to see somebody with some sort of political wherewithal, with some sort of legal wherewithal, get behind and actually put some of this complete government nonsense on, make it actually accountable within their own realm of things. Their corporate, falsified, made up legal realm that we all live within, and it's a good thing. Even if I wanted to, kind of blop off on a spiritual thing for everyone, it's why we need to sometimes, renounce contracts, renounce these things off of our spirit, because we live in a world of falsified contracts. It's just everything from the moment you're born is one contract after the next contract after the next contract. Most contracts that we carry, or that we carry weight on our souls, are literally just contracts that we don't even actually know anything about. So, it's all part of the journey to sovereignty, to inner awareness. I'm sure that we've all had this experience, but I've been doing it a little bit lately, because I kind of went through. We all go through many cycles in this life, in this matrix, but to always come back to center. I thought about something about calling forth what's lost from you and bringing it back to center, making yourself whole in all aspects. We in most likely, well, not most likely, but we're interdimensional. We're inter consciousness, you know, so we're acting on many different levels. But the more we can bring the truth of what we are and who we are to ourselves, it just makes things easier to, it's not even really understanding, but you know, I find when you do that, the aha moments within you, the just the natural guidance that you're already taking yourself on comes to the forefront. So I don't know, it's just definitely something we've always want to be centering, ridding ourselves of these contracts and bringing our true selves back to center, you know, because think about it, many times in life, you know, in many aspects of our life, and I'll just be like blunt here, we've made mistakes, we've been tricked, you know, we've been through this, we've probably been in sexual unions, business unions, corporate unions, friendships that are all about narcissistic things. A lot of these have stolen from us portions of our soul, spiritual being, and you know, nothing can really take that from you. So I was thinking lately about bringing it back to yourself. Anything that you've had taken from you that you don't want taken from you, simply call it back to yourself and become more whole again, because we all are going to constantly make mistakes. It's called being consciousness, it's called learning, it's called being part of the whole multi-universe. So yeah, pretty I've had some pretty cool thoughts lately, I'll tell you, in the last like couple of weeks of my life. So yeah,
happens when you get in nature and you connect.
absolutely.
I'm craving that right now so bad. That would be so nice. Yeah.
Hey Amber, where do you live? I know what part of the US are you in?
I'm in northern Nevada.
Okay, northern Nevada. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
How do you like it there?
You know, I really actually like it because it's like high Sierras. So we have tons of mountains everywhere. I'm in Reno, so it's like I call it the armpit of the United States, because it's just kind of, it just has had this stagnant energy for ever since I've lived here. We moved here when I was 8. So,
wow.
But it's they're trying to make it better. They're trying to make downtown prettier and all that stuff. And you can drive 30 minutes one way and get one type of scenery. You can drive the other way and get a completely different atmosphere. So there's so many different beautiful things that you can find. And
Reno's
awesome.
beautiful.
I have been to Reno.
We're near Pyramid. You have?
I was young though when I went. I was young when I went there. So, you know, it was with my parents on a trip many years ago. So, yeah.
Right on.
I remember the first time I came here from a small town, and we saw all the lights, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's so magical. And now it's like, yeah, I'm used to it.
Yeah. No, that's good.
Yeah.
Are you ready to read for us, Amber?
Yeah, I
see you shuffling. I was like, are you ready? I see you.
So with the whole topic of the show today, energy coming or going. So what creates energy, or what zaps our energy? I kind of focused more on what zaps our energy with this. And we got the Ace of Cups reversed and the Moon. So what I feel with this is that repressed emotions zap our energy. If we don't practice self-love, that will zap our energy. And this can go so many, I mean, health-wise, like we're going to get into it during this conversation, I'm sure. And then the Moon, wisdom, you know, having the wisdom to navigate within your internal emotions and understand that really everything just comes from ourselves. You can allow things to affect you and then take away your energy, or you can learn to not attach to that stuff and just let that stuff go, so that you can be the best version of yourself, you know, that you could be. And then the shapeshifter, transform and unveil your gifts. So that's pretty much self-explanatory, you know. We don't have to stick on to these old ideas of anything. We don't need to focus on, you know, catastrophic events that we're constantly being told we might, you know, oh, a meteor might hit us. Come on, we hear this stuff every year. There's something else, you know. So just learning to let go of fear and not allowing the repressed emotions to take away your self-love. That's it.
Absolutely.
That's
Love it.
great.
Absolutely.
That's excellent stuff to ponder upon.
Yeah. And you notice you're right about that with the meteor thing. Now I heard from two different sources. One was that scientist guy, and then there was that who was that preacher guy, the old preacher, the evangelist guy. He's been talking about Robert something, whatever his name is. But anyway, you'd recognize him. He's like 90 years old, and he came out and said that there was going to be a big catastrophe. A meteor, he had a vision from God, and meteor is going to come down and strike the earth and kill everybody. And I'm thinking, why are you trying to strike fear in the hearts of all the people? Is that just wrong? And then there's that Degrassi, somebody, that scientist guy. And he says there's supposed to be, I can't think of his first name, but
Neil.
Yeah, Neil.
Neil deGrasse.
Yeah. And he said, thank you all. But he said that there's going to be one just before the election. Just like, really?
I don't trust that guy.
Yeah. Like,
No, you
like
shouldn't
what?
trust that guy, because, and I'll give you a little piece, like science and religion are the same thing. They're taught from books. They're taught from cults. It doesn't mean that there isn't good science in science, and it doesn't mean that there's not tidbits of spirituality and religion. But the two of them might as well actually be thrown under a religious thing, because I'll just say to everyone something that Amber said, you know, a moment ago. We do create. So why they want all the meteors, all the negative talk, negative, because they must have the consciousness of the humanity produce these things, because you can't just produce them. They have to come into creation. So if you're talking about the archontic or whatever rulership that is very strong in this segment of reality, they need to constantly trick using and all of these different things to actually make things be created in the way that they want them to be created, because they're they're not capable of creation. So when science, we put value behind science. Well, okay, it wouldn't take too much research to look back through universities and all of the training that goes into these professionalisms in this world to understand that these are completely controlled environments. They're not free of creativity and expression, and they're completely unnecessary in a free creative world. If we were totally free source creation consciousness beings, we don't need any of that. It's same with religion. It wants to pigeonhole everything into a set of rules. Science you always need the scientific method, the religious method, all of these things. And that's where coming back into wholeness of yourself, when you understand that you never did need any of these things, you already can know everything within. Now, I'm not saying we can know everything within at this exact moment, this exact time, but you can always come back to the proper path. Like, you know, people call it the path of light or whatever, like, you know, light, dark, whatever. That's not like really a journey. It's not like light is all good, dark is all bad. But yeah, I mean, these scientists literally, like Degrassi and all of this crap, it's just a bunch of crap. Politicians are a bunch of crap. It's just all crap to basically keep the fear, because fear is the biggest controller. I mean, we can all quickly look at what is powering this fake COVID scam that's going on right now. It's all based upon the belief, believing in a lie that it exists, and the only reason anyone gives it any kudos is because of fear. So fear basically brings everything into that's how everything is controlled by the controlling force. So if a majority of people feel like there's a meteor coming, an earthquake coming, tsunami coming, you know, they can put things in the news. They can say, oh, there's a tsunami, like say this one in Alaska. And I heard David talking about it. I don't know much about it. I don't give news or anything any kudos, but you know, once it's presented out to people, the belief is already there. Whether it exists or not is totally irrelevant because the belief and the control system is already there. So anyhow, sorry, I'm yammering on.
No. But so you're right though. They put that fear out there, and then that in turn lowers your energy. And if you can lower everybody's energy, are they? So here's the question. Are they sucking everybody's energy and then using that, or are they just lowering it so that their energy is more powerful? One or the other.
Well, it's easier to control the masses when everyone's afraid.
Definitely. So they've been doing that. That's a playbook right there.
Yeah.
I
don't know if it makes them stronger. Sorry.
Oh. No, yeah, go ahead.
Well, if it weakens you, or then it's making them stronger. But I mean, I'm kind of wondering because well, you can feel, you know, you got that intuitive feeling kind of thing. So, you know, are they like a psychic vampire sucking and getting power from that? You know, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Well, it would certainly seem like something like that. And, you know, if you talk about, and I'm not here to talk about even ancient texts or anything, but it does seem like a lot of it has to do with beings that have either lowered their vibration to a certain level that they literally have to suck the energy off of higher vibrational beings, or it even gives kudos to the potentiality or whatever you want to call it of artificial intelligence being part and parcel part of what's going on, because I'm not so sure that artificial intelligence would have the ability to connect to spirit. So the only way to connect to the next level for an artificial intelligence, which would be spirit, would be basically to steal spirit. Well, there's only one way to steal spirit. Spirit has to be voluntarily given. So one way that you can lose, you know, and become your energy siphoned from you is when you're in a state of fear. You actually volunteer a big portion of your natural energy force to something that may or may not even be real. And so I mean, it is kind of like a big, just this world in a weird way is a big giant energy siphoning vacuum for whatever reason, you know. So
I got a question with all of that. Now you were talking about it can't suck it, the computer can't suck it out of you, but I notice now, like the big rage, and maybe you've all noticed that there's now these VR goggles. Do you ever hear? You ever see them?
Oh God, yeah.
I've seen them advertised, or I don't know if anybody's ever used them, but you know,
I have once.
Oh, you have? Okay.
Yeah, I know lots of people who use them. Yeah.
I was very hesitant to do it. I was like, dude, you better make sure that I come out of this matrix when I take these off, because my friend's like, do it. It was pretty cool, but I would never do it again. I don't trust it.
Because I've heard you, Trina, talk about, you know, you can see the soul by looking into your eyes, you know. I mean, you can look in the mirror, and if you stare there too long, I heard you many a times talk about that. The question is so if you're putting on these VR glasses or goggles or whatever they are, sure, it's cool. Like Amber said, it's really cool. And yeah, I you know, but, and you come out of it all right. But at a certain point, is that the way they're getting into you? I mean, would that not be how a computer would enter your You know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
I think it's a possibility. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and yeah.
I mean, think about it. If you can open up a portal using a Ouija board, imagine the power of this black mirror. It's beyond our imagination.
Yeah. Yeah. While it's feeding you, it's stealing from you. That's why it says,
Yeah, it's not stealing all the time. A lot of the time it's learning. But we're looking at a monumental time in our timeline right now where we've got a lot of things going on, and it looks like the basis for the whole muzzling was from the illness, and that illness is not what they're saying. So it looks to me like this is an ID situation. They're IDing. They're doing some stuff, and they're trying to connect us to technology. And the people that have had some trials on this, they say that they can't feel God anymore. So yeah, it looks like there's some kind of attack of our inner connection to God and those kinds of
And I
things.
feel like also it's a way to desensitize people, because like I said, I only done it once, but when you have those on, it's like you feel like weightless almost, because you're like, depending on what you're looking at, you could be, what I looked at, I was like on this roller coaster or something, and I was seeing faces, and it was like this huge room. It wasn't even a room. It was like I was outside. It was just like crazy. And I think it's a way too to desensitize us. Also, maybe they're getting into our eyes, and that, like Trina said, they're getting information, and also desensitizing us so that we don't appreciate the real, earth, because we don't see things that detailed in that type of way.
Yeah.
And,
well, like literally, I saw that roller coaster one you're speaking of, and it literally, you feel like you're on a roller coaster. It's like you can almost feel the wind on your face. It's crazy. And that is so powerful, because basically what I think this is doing is it's writing the emotional programs backed on the information codes. So once they can connect you to this, they're watching the dilation of the cones and the rods in the eyes. They're watching how the brain's firing up, because this is getting advanced. So I'm pretty sure that they're recording our emotional responses. So they're trying to integrate emotional responses into the information base they've had. But I can also see such positive things with this too, like people at the end of their life that can no longer move or be mobile. I mean, could you imagine how awesome it would be for like 98-year-old grandma to be able to ride a roller coaster again, because she hasn't been able to do it in like 30 years because you're too fragile to go on a roller coaster. So I can see positive stuff too, but most of it is, to me, it seems like I think we've been down this road before, and it's follow the white rabbit. And what's the first thing that you see with the white rabbit your whole life? What do you associate it with? The magician, right? So it's time to break through the illusions and figure out what's happening.
When you said there's not, we've been down this road before. See, now I keep hearing this in the last, I don't know how many days, I've heard people say, they quoted this saying, it's out of either the Bible or somewhere. I don't know. You probably be more familiar. There's nothing new. It was King Solomon. Was it King Solomon or Nebuchadnezzar? And there's nothing new under the sun. It's all been done before. So, when you're saying that, is that a past memory that says, yeah, I think we've done this before, and here we go again, but you can't really tell because you just don't know for sure.
You listen, there's so much hope with what's going on. It's just if we can be strong enough and have enough faith in ourselves to believe in ourselves, not to be brought into some type of a connection to maybe the physical body that you can't undo, because it looks like they're targeting. I noticed it with the autism, stopping speech. I create, therefore, I speak, therefore I create. God gave us the word was God. Oh, they took away the word from human beings. And now I see they're trying to actually maybe get rid of your connection to God. So, but there's also this. And when the people of God are assembled, their collective efforts will become so powerful that their prayers and mantras used collectively will actually offset wars and terrorist activities. This is the power that we have.
Yes. Yeah. And when you were saying that, just something came to me that we were created in more of a perfect state. So this is why, especially, you know, when I was talking about science and religion and medicines, and I'm not saying that the spirit of the truly good spirit is not within certain people doing the, you know, good works doing this. However, it's been a monumental attack on
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. We
He's
lost
gone.
Kent.
We
He'll-
lost him. Kent, come back.
Yeah, he will. Just check your email
Yeah,
and he'll probably
I
try to
will.
come in.
I'm waiting for him.
Do we still got
I
him?
did want to say, like, one of a big energy zapper, and so I'm trying to think of his name, Lester Levinson. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Lester Levinson, but he's passed away now, but he was enlightened. You know, who knows really, you just never know unless you're in their bodies. But he had this workbook that I still have, and it breaks down, like, in each category, there's fear, love, and, you know, all these different emotions. And then under those emotions are all these other emotions. And basically it's like a pyramid. And then at the very top of the pyramid, it all links to the fear of death. Yep. So that they're really good at manipulating our fear of death, because our mind and our body is here to survive. And, you know, that's our basic instinct. When you're starving, you're going to go and probably kill an animal or something, even if you don't eat meat, because that's what your body is going to make you do.
Yeah,
and
that's the beast system. That's the part of you. That's the animal part of you. And that,
and
so
that's
real.
the part we have to try and overcome, because that's what's really keeping us, you know, because we're all going to die. We're all going to meet our maker, you know, and I'll see you all there. I'll see you there, you know.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well,
you know, that's the thing. It's this, if they say this is an illusion, right? And this is a testing ground, whatever. So, you know, I look at when I've seen other timelines in the future, it seems like they're all trying to chase reproduction and genetic codes. So what if the majority of humanity decide not to do these shots and alter their genetic codes? And I wonder if that actually ends up saving mankind in the future.
Yeah. See, and that, I think that's where the Crossroad comes in.
I think a lot of people are going to go that route, and I think that a lot of them are supposed to, because you can't know the difference if you don't have the opposite, you know, if you don't have a contrast. So that contrast, I see its function, I see its necessity, I see all of that a lot of people, that is their destiny and their path to go transpersonal humanism. They're totally on board with it, and that's going to be what they're supposed to do. But I just keep seeing, you know, how come there's so much about going after the genetics and trying to bring things that don't have the ability to produce us, trying to get in here and mingle with us. So that's telling me that we must be something pretty valuable and special. And it must mean that something from the future timelines is trying desperately to get back what we still currently are. So I'm just saying, I just hear it's like what you are is a treasure. Be careful what you give up. And I'm hoping that whatever they're doing right now is, you know, it's not a permanent thing for everybody, but it looks like it might be.
So if it's like everything else, which everything seems to be based on something, you know, because everything kind of follows a pattern. So if you have, okay, well, I know for a fact that most people are good, right? Is that not correct? Most
I
people are
think
good.
so. I
Yeah.
think so.
I mean,
Yeah.
very seldom do you find somebody who's just really evil and mean and nasty, but most people have a pretty kind heart, and even a person who you think is kind of nasty, they kind of are nice too. You know, nobody's really wants to be bad. I don't want to be bad. I'm going to do everything bad. No. So most people are good. So the idea is that if you can convince that, so basically you got the yin and the yang, the 50% here and the 50% there kind of thing. And right now we're in this like 80-10, you know, or 80-20 kind of, and maybe a few of them are in the undecided business. But if they can somehow swing that over to the 51% kind of deal, well, you know, we go over the cliff kind of deal. See, that's what I'm saying is all they got to do is they know as long as they get that 51, they can take the whole majority with them.
Yeah, fear. That's how they do it over and over again. But what if we win this time? Because what if enough of the collective truly understands that their soul and spirit is more valuable than keeping this thing going? Because to keep this thing going might mean that you have to do some modifications. And you know, when we look at light and frequency and how that affects matter in the world that we see, it's all based on frequency and vibration. If we're connecting to a different kind of technology and putting it into the body, this is going to change the vibration of the body. This means that your genetic fingerprint, like vibrational signature from the creator that you originally came in with, is not going to be the same anymore. So I'm seeing a lot of issues with this.
Yeah.
Although I heard today somebody was talking about galactic waves and things like that, and because of the sun reacting, because we know that everything here is reacted on by the sun and the planets and things like that, which is, and as our protective shield that goes around the earth shrinks, more of this stuff is gonna affect us. And that's gonna change the frequency of everyone and everything, and it only has to change it that much.
Absolutely. And I think we might be looking
And
at
my
that.
thing is,
cool.
I'm not afraid of that. Like something's telling me like, you know, just work on yourself and try to help other people when they have questions, and that's all you can do, you know. And they can try to keep us here and trapped in this matrix, but good luck. Like I just feel in my heart that they're not going to succeed. I do kind of believe in reincarnation. I'm kind of on the fence with it. And you know, if reincarnation does exist, then I think it's important to be more and more connected to our true selves. So when we die, if we do come back, what I feel is we'll come back at that same vibration that we left on. So we want to make sure that, you know, we try and take care of our soul so that if we do come back, we're starting back here so we can keep going up.
You know what I've been thinking about lately? I wonder if, because you know how it's always been taught that the fifth dimension is bringing like heaven to earth. What if bringing heaven to earth means that actually you're going to actually be consciously walking in the essence of your oversoul? Bringing that actually into the physical body,
or at least a little bit higher.
This concept came into my head because I just saw this book that was released. It was called Anna, the Grandmother of Jesus. And what she was talking about was she lived like over 500 years. She used to do that practice where they would go into like sleep, you know, like that stasis, like the samadhi. And she taught Jesus how to do this. She said that's how he avoided his death, was because he was able to go into that trance state. So he appeared dead, and he kind of really was dead until he came back into his body. So yeah, she was talking about this stuff. so you have all these kings lists and all the stuff, these people that lived like long time, like, you know, Methuselah, 969 years, you know, all these people lived a long time. I wonder if this was a natural practice that these people used to do, because they say when you would lay the body down, it would regenerate. So like, no matter if they were laid down for 100 years, when they woke them up, they were still like the day they laid them down. So this would make sense with the ascended master, Saint Germain, how he would like pop in and out and show up through like 500 different years, and people are like, what? You know, it would make sense on how these things were being accomplished, that there's an actual science to it, and it's physically doable organically.
Yes.
Yep.
Well,
As long
yeah,
as you don't feed into the fear and you work on yourself and you don't watch negative people talk about, you know, their fears.
Right.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, and you know, if you're talking about you know, the things from like Jesus or something, but whether Jesus is a person or a conglomeration of you know,
It's
conscious
more about,
people. But I just thought of something, and what Amber said is, it's stated that you can never do anything for somebody else spiritually until you yourself you
can
know,
do it.
can do it for yourself. So yeah, it is an important concept of working on yourself to work with others, because we've probably all been there, and has anybody experienced this, where you maybe grab some information from somewhere and you haven't really processed it into your own state of being yet, and then you freely give it out to as like advice that is almost like a statement of you, and then quickly the universe takes you into a state where you realize and learn that you were like, oh, I see some errors in this, you know. And I think the real error wasn't that you saw it, wasn't that you went through it, it's that you didn't process it deeply enough into yourself to understand what was right and wrong from it before we teach. Kind of like maybe what David was talking about. Well, I didn't not maybe what he was talking about, but you know, the true mission of a shaman or something, if you truly take something upon yourself like that, well, then you are deeply experiencing things so that you can present to others so that they can deeply experience. Because if they don't, yeah, you know, it just can become,
That's what they were saying. It was secret teachings, and you know, it took a lot of years to be able to get into these states, and they have to fast and do all this stuff. I mean, it's just amazing to me to see the potentials that we have organically and naturally that we just have never really been aware of at all. And it's just like, you know, we have all this push for trying to extend life, and it's like, man, we don't even know what we can do naturally.
right?
We don't even know yet, because there's so many stories of people that have been able to do these amazing practices. And it's like, I just really think that I hope humanity gives itself a chance to actually see what it's capable of, because I think it's super, super capable.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely think we're super capable, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I'm kind of thinking, you know, you're right. We're very capable of doing all kinds of things. And I've noticed, okay, for myself on my journey, is that I've realized that it's all in my head, and I'm capable of way much more than I thought I was. And a lot of it is okay, it's like this. I always just say, well, if you can't control yourself, you know, like, okay, I'm not going to be tempted to eat that big chunk of cake, you know, or something, or I'm not going to watch that TV program because I don't really need TV. Well, I'm going to do something different, you know, or I'm going to not smoke or not drink or whatever. if you can't go without those temptations, and you can't control yourself for like other things either, like, you know, I'm gonna whatever, you know what I'm saying? If you can't walk that extra few feet to make the mile one day, and you say I'm just too tired, and you poop out, and you go, you know, what's to make sure that you can't, you're going to be able to do all this fancy hocus pocus stuff you guys are talking about that these gurus do? Because if you can't even, you know, do a simple little thing to control yourself, how are you going to accomplish the big things when it comes up?
That's why those small things that you can accomplish, exactly. It's unbelievable. Exactly what you're talking about, Robert. I has been on my mind for the last 2 weeks, absolutely straight. Just the importance of conquering the smaller tasks of where you want to be, how valuable they are. I mean, because I'm doing that kind of with diet right now, but I screw up all the time. Yeah. However, you know, I've been at moments in my life, I actually did fast for 40 days. I did it. Just, I was in this, and I mean, the veil was so thin for me. I mean, I was able to see through to the AI section of it. I was able to feel, I was able to communicate a lot more, way clearer with my higher conscience, and also with what would be called angelic beings around. But I mean, these are just names. I mean, we're talking about just being able to connect to higher conscious and basically overcome fear at a level that I've never overcome before, where I realized that fear was a falsity. And but you know, in this world, in this matrix that we're within, we bounce up, we bounce down, things are thrown at us, and you know, emotional you know, items and just emotional things that come up. Like, I've been out of my body before. I've crossed the line. I've chosen to come back into your very hard concepts to explain if you haven't experienced them. That's why working upon yourself, if others are to experience, you will always understand. Like you, Robert, understand your experience through your experience, and same with Trina and Amber and myself, and they're different. So the only way that we can truly learn is when we're speaking of our own true experience, and others can maybe hear or take something from it. But it doesn't mean, no matter what level of spiritual guru you can get yourself to, you are always within a system of conscious change, you know, and things can affect you. You know, I've been at points in time in my life where nothing, it seems, could affect me. And people have actually called me weird for it because, you know, I don't seem as affected by what some people would think is negative, you know, but then you cycle back in your journey, and it's fluid, you know, and, you know, just something, since we're here, you know, on Milky Way, and we're, you know, this something that Brian brought us all to, you know, I realized even in the last, you know, week or so of my life, you know, just how deeply hit I was by, you know, the loss of Brian. Even though it's not a loss, we are eternal spiritual beings, but you know, it's still everything in our conscious learning. You know, we're meant to feel, you know, because if we don't feel and we don't, you know, lose, and sometimes I think in our spiritual journeys, as like a soul group and spirit group, we're around each other, and you know, it's almost the craziest thing. It's like as eternal beings in certain incarnations or whatever, we experience the different things, and so that we see it from the different perspectives of it all. So I don't know if that makes any sense, but you know, I'm really kind of coming out of being kicked in the chest with, you know, that. And even though I truly understand a lot greater concepts of spirituality and everything, so it's just such a journey, you know, it is such a journey. And is there really always answers. I mean, we learn, but is there direct 100% answers for everything? You know, I don't know. We don't know.
We all have
Nobody
different
knows.
perspectives.
Yes.
Every perspective and what everyone sees is different, you know? So you may say something to me and then I may perceive it in a completely different way than you're perceiving it. But then I could still learn something from that, you know?
Yeah.
If we waited for everyone to be this almighty master guru just to finally allow someone to teach, then we wouldn't be learning, you know, because people see, I had a problem with that for many years because I'm like, who am I to go and try and tell my truth when I'm, you know, sometimes I can be a wreck behind the scenes, you know, I don't have my shit together fully, completely.
Yeah.
So who am I? But then it's like, but what kind of service am I doing if I just keep my mouth shut and I don't express my experiences? Because, you know, it's important. It is for everyone to be able to speak their truth.
It is. It's beautiful. The most beautiful thing we do within ourselves is when we speak in truth. You know what I mean? And we're actually in a world a lot of times that, you're right, we're constantly bombarded with people that actually aren't speaking their truth, you know, and I'm not saying, you know, maybe not within, you know, this community or something like that, but we out in everyday life, you're always hit by things that, you know, are not true. And it is, you know, there is such a beauty of coming together on, say, like a channel or forum like we're doing right now. You know, one thing that's beautiful here, all four of us as we sit here, we're speaking truth from our hearts. Is it the end all be all? No, but is it part of everything, and is it part of learning? Yeah, yes, it is, because we go through this world. I mean, I go through this world right now. I'm a home inspector. I mean, am I a home inspector? In this world right now, I'm a home inspector. Is it partially a false facade? Absolutely, it's partially a false facade. You literally have to put on somewhat of a false facade to even get through this existence. But is it truly who you are? No. So it really is quite a funny world out there at times, for sure. So
yeah, because see, and then I agree with that. You know, you put on that false facade, but because a lot of people are really living in denial of the truth. Do you not agree? I mean, I don't know how many times I know what really is, and then I do something else knowing that I really knew that, you know, but I mean, we all do it. I mean, we all deny the truth a lot of times. Hey, I look beautiful this morning, when I'm thinking, yeah, my hair's all messy. I've told myself a lot of times, I'm not getting gray. I really am not. I got 2 gray hairs over here and I'm not getting gray. I'll pull them out. No,
exactly.
Never happening. I'm in denial of it.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely.
I noticed, like, during my journey too, like, because I would intentionally, and I still do, bring up things, you know, I really do try and lift the lid off the pot and let it boil over so that I can just let it go, you know, and it's painful. But there's been so many times where I'm like, I think I've got it. I think I've got this emotion conquered. And then that same day, someone or something will happen and I'm like, and it brings it right back up, you know. Like, it's funny because this plane like has a very good sense of humor, you know. It's like, oh, I'll show you how much past this you are. And it's so
exactly.
But it's fun, you know, when you learn, like, instead of feeling guilty for it and being like, oh man, I'm such a failure, I thought I was there and I'm not. Like, no, it's cool, you know, it's all good, just swing the bat again, you know, just keep going.
I love that concept. I mean, and I've said that to myself so many times. It's just like it, because you want to get, you know, it traps you into that guilt complex. Like, you want to do something, you want to eat better. So you do it for 2 days and all of a sudden you realize, oh, without even thinking about it, it's like you just pounded a whole bag of potato chips or something like that. And you're like, no, did I just do that? Like, what happened? You know, but you're right. Get up, swing the bat. You're going to have to make mistakes before you get through to in your journey. I think it's just all part and parcel. And you know, maybe it's truly because if really having success with something, if it isn't a journey, if it has no, you know, ups and downs to it, was it really worth it? And yeah, like, you know, I'm really on this thing. It's on my brain all the time, and it has to do with vibration, and I know that. But you know, of just I want to literally try to eat nothing but purely natural stuff for an extended period of time. And if for any real reason, it's kind of because I want to test the spiritual boundaries of it, just to see, you know, okay, so if I eat just all natural foods for like 3 months or something like that, how am I truly feeling inside? You know, it's almost like testing it. It's not like telling somebody to do something or not do something. It's just a personal journey. But it is funny how difficult sometimes you'd think, because really when you think about it, it's the simplest concept on earth. Okay, I'll get up and I'll eat all my meals. I'll eat nothing but natural. I'll just go buy it all natural. Really, in principle, that's the simplest thing in the world. But is it that simple to actually execute it? No, it's actually quite difficult to execute it. So it's really interesting that way sometimes. So
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. I mean, you're on your journey. Amber, you're on your journey. Trina, you're on your journey. I'm on my journey. And the thing is, like you were saying, oh, you know, I screwed up. I'm a failure. Well, you're never a failure. You're judging yourself. You just, well, I didn't quite get it that time. I'll do it again, or I'll do better next time. I figure every time I fail, it's not a failure. It's just, well, I need to learn it better. I just need to, you know, change something and make it different next time. Because if I just repeat the process, that's insanity. I need to
yeah, isn't that's the definition of insanity, is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. So
yes.
Exactly.
So that's one of the things I've learned. It's like, okay, if I get up every morning and I'm late because you know, well, obviously I need to change something, and eventually, hey, I'm early now. You know, and all kinds of things.
It reminds me of like when I what's going on?
Trina's upside down.
So when like I used to be really hard on myself, like with weight and stuff like that. That's a whole nother story. But I would have these cycles. I would hardly eat during the day. This was so stupid, and I would train for 4 hours a day. And then at night I'd be starving, and then I would binge, and then I would feel guilty the next day. So I wouldn't eat again. And then I would be starving, and then I would binge. And that was all from guilt, you know, all like, it's like, when you put that much pressure on yourself and you feel guilty, you're going to probably do something stupid to kind of compensate for that, or something that's not right for you. So when I started to be like, no, I'm going to eat breakfast. I'm going to eat lunch. I'm going to eat. And if I screw up tonight and I eat too much, well, guess what? I'm going to get up tomorrow and I'm going to eat breakfast and I'm going to eat lunch and I'm going to work out 1 hour, and that's it. And then eventually my chemicals in my body started to balance out. And then, you know, I just created this pattern of eating the right times a day. And eventually I just didn't want to binge anymore. And, you know, if I eat a piece of cake at night, cool, that was a delicious piece of cake, you know, and tomorrow I'm going to go back and I'm going to eat healthy again, and I'm going to do my workout. And, you know, it's like, it's the guilt that makes us beat up on ourselves and punish ourselves, you know?
Yeah. That guilt, and you're judging it, and that guilt is judgment against yourself. And then that screws out it's kind of like a snowball, and it just gains and gains and gains and gains and gains.
Exactly.
And like you said, I remember I seen you had some workout videos or something like that for a while. And so, you know, I'm sure you were into that. And I know I've thought about it a lot of times too, with the way I've been, you know, I lost a bunch of weight and I got back into my old shape, what I was, you know, 20 years ago kind of thing. And it was all about, well, you know, I just neglected myself. You know, I don't need to, I ain't going to do this. And then I started changing, and I changed a little bit here and a little bit there, and I worked it in. And I realized if I made those big swings like you're talking about, guess what? It didn't work out. And I ended up going backwards. I never really went anywhere because I made too big of a swing. It's like, well, Kent, you would know this. I don't know, Amber, if you ever drove a truck with a big trailer behind. Kent, you probably drove a truck. And you're backing it up. Yeah. If you turn that wheel a little bit, you back that trailer up nice and straight. But if you turn that, and then and you turn, next thing you know, that trailer's kinked and you're going, crap. And then you got to put it forward and straighten it all out. And then you go, okay. And you do it again and again and again, and you never get it backed up. But if you just turn the wheel a little bit, it goes right back.
Yeah, absolutely. It is the little things that you do. And boy, I can relate so much. I had the exact same eating patterns. Don't eat, binge, feel guilt, get up, don't eat, binge, get like it's funny how those,
it's a vicious cycle.
Yeah, it truly is. I totally get it. I've been right down that exact path, you know, so and you're right, Robert. It is all those little changes, but making them real. Like take a real, you know, small change, and all of a sudden it really actually does become just an easy, natural change, and you're not fighting it anymore. And then all, you know, and you know, say if we're talking about, you know, food or whatever those things are, all of a sudden your body just kind of comes back in, and you realize at the end of the day it was just your body that was out of sync that was causing any problems anyways. And then once you kind of change the little things, you're back in sync. It's like having success at anything. You need to put in the small things and stick with it for any results in anything that you do. So, and I don't think that changes so much. It's not like, oh, you leave this existence into another dimensional existence without putting the work and the changes in. So it is so important. And like you were saying earlier, whether it be reincarnating back here, whether it being, you know, going back into your highest state of consciousness, whether it be incarnating into a different creative zone, you know, conscious world, whatever that may be. Yes, you're learning and you're taking from experiences. I mean, that to me is a little bit of everything. And even lately, I've kind of let go of all the nonsenses and stuff like that, because, and Robert, earlier when you were saying that most people are good people, I totally agree. The only weird thing about this particular world is that most of the negative people know this, and they get to these, you know, narcissistic positions in politics and this and that, and that's why they're kind of going there. It would be very unfun to hang out with these politicians, trust me, one-on-one. I mean, it would just be so against your spirit. So yeah, I mean, you know, I truly believe that everything, like Amber was saying earlier, like we all say, but everything is okay. It's all under control. And, you know, you can snap your fingers and not allow fear to control you at any moment. And if you haven't if you don't understand that yet, the universe might put things in your way and so that it teaches you more and more that that aspect. And you know, I'm just having a laugh to myself, because I think you were saying something earlier, Amber, how, you know, you try to put something under control. And earlier in the day, it could be like, oh, I'm not going to get angry. No matter what those people do to me at work, I will not get angry. All of a sudden, it'll be like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You'll get in your vehicle and you'll just be like, what the? And then you're like, oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I thought I had that under control 4 hours ago. So yeah, absolutely.
That's why it's really important to not put so much pressure, you know, on ourselves. Just do what you can do. And that will build the confidence, you know, to do a little bit more and then a little bit more. Like Robert was saying, you know, just, you know, add in, take away a little, add in, take away, and it will build your confidence. Just like the 40-day fast. Like, we're taught that we have to eat, you know, every 72 hours or however much that is, or else we're just going to die. You know, some people go on water fasts for that long too. And we're taught you can't go past a week without water. Well, you probably can't if you still have that idea in your head. But once you train yourself slowly, you'll realize that our minds are so powerful and you can do a lot more than you're told you can't do, you know. What I'm saying.
Now that was a powerful statement. Exactly. That's what I keep saying. Exactly that. Your minds are more powerful. And if you, then you can even imagine. And once you accomplish that one small goal, or you realize that you can do that small thing, then you look at it and go, well, I can conquer this and I can conquer that. And next thing you know, you're at the top of the mountain. You're at the top because you just said, hey, you know, it's all up here the whole time. It was up here.
That's the beauty of the journey.
Yes.
That's the beauty of the journey.
Absolutely. It's like I've built I've built homes, I've built restaurants and things from ground up, and people look and they're like, oh my God, how could you possibly do that? It's so complex. And you know the answer? It's not complex. It's just literally one step at a time. You do this step and then you finish it. And then you do this step and then you finish it. And then this step. And all of a sudden you've created something grand, or, you know, whatever grand is to the person. It's the same thing when you do art. You know, I've done art and you start a drawing and you feed this part in and then you go to the next, and all of a sudden you've got this beautiful artwork. And it's like, how did you get there? Well, I don't know. I started with just the smallest little thing, and then it just, you know, you just work on it. And that is mind over matter. I mean, that is just not looking at the overall whole. You can't look at the overall whole of like the universe and have it figured out. It's mind blowing. How can you do that? You can't, but you can look into the components and then understand more and more how things work together. And there's nobody here of any of us that have all of the answers on that, nor do the gurus. Actually, they have other concepts of the universe that have been conquered, or not conquered, but understood. So when we all learn together, we'll all get our chance to be at and learn these different things that our minds want us to learn. And I'm talking not just in this incarnation, I'm talking in the overall of what we are as spirited beings. So that's pretty cool. I mean, you know, never worried. Enjoy and understand exactly where you're at. Don't panic if you think somebody else may have it all figured out. They certainly don't, but they have other cool aspects figured out, and that's cool. So if you want to learn, then put yourself within that vibration together so that you can learn more from each's experience. And I think, you know, it's a pretty cool concept, really.
Yeah. And like Robert said, I think it was last week, he said, we need all of you. You know, what you say is important, because without your piece of the puzzle, our puzzle won't be fit. It won't be complete. Like, we need all of these pieces. You know, it's important. Yeah. Nobody is without their spot in place.
Yeah, everybody's important. I mean, no matter what. I used to have this crew of guys. Tell you a small story, make it real quick. had this group of guys, and I called them the Yahoos, and they all lived together. They were all related to each other. Trust me. It was, the one guy, he was he was his own grandpa, put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Anyway, anyway, they were all a little bit mentally handicapped, and some of them were on the they all had stuff like that. They had things going on, and some retardation and things like that. But they were really nice.
He's trying to say they were inbred.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, and the leader, Big John, he was kind of like the leader, and he had one blue eye and one brown eye, and they looked both ways, so it was really hard to look at him when you're just like, he's a really nice guy. Thought he knew everything under the sun, but I just shake my head and be like, oh, that makes no sense. Anyway, the important part about it is once I learned who they were and they would come over and help me, each one of them had something they did well. Like one guy drove the tractor really well. Another guy, he could split the wood really well. The other guy could stack wood really well. The other guy, he kind of gave the orders and stuff to all the others really well. If you mixed them around, things went haywire. The one guy couldn't stack a pile of wood if he tried. Another guy couldn't drive the tractor. He'd hit a tree. The other guy, if you let him be in charge, oh my gosh, everybody is angry and yelling at each other. But if you put them in their right spots, we got mountains accomplished.
Right.
Unbelievable things. And I was just amazed at what we could accomplish. I mean, even with that crazy group, people would see me coming with them and they'd be like, oh boy. And then at the end, it's like, wow, how, but hey.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great story.
Absolutely.
Well,
The
Trina,
perfect way to explain it.
Exactly. Trina, I see you made it back. And before your battery dies or your phone dies, we're going to call it a night. And I'm glad you made it back to say goodbye.
Me too. Yeah, it was really weird. I had a full battery and it completely drained and it wouldn't it's plugged in. It was weird. So,
yeah. Thank you, Kent, for coming and showing up last minute. I didn't expect to have you on tonight at all, but I just had two lovely ladies joining me tonight, but glad you could come. And
I'm happy
Amber,
to be here.
Amber, best card reading ever. I tell you, it fit perfectly. Awesome. Thank you for coming and staying the whole hour, a little over.
You're welcome.
Wonderful. Okay. And Trina, we couldn't do it without you either.
Oh, you too, Robert, driving the bus. Much love to you and appreciation. Thank you.
I'm just your humble bus driver with a scarf on.
Absolutely. Good looking scarf too.
Yes.
Made with love.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Crystal. Crystal,
Yeah.
Anybody else want a scarf and a nice, beautiful hat like this? Crystal has them.
Absolutely.
So check them out. And
I'd be buying them up, but I just don't think I'd use them here. I never get a chance.
Yeah, you have to go somewhere cooler. I'm sure that
I
I
have
can
to go
move
somewhere cold, and I'd use my scarf. But like, yay! I mean, once in a while I can wear, but not very often. Dude,
there's definitely a lot of people in Canada that can use those. So that's for sure.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I really super enjoyed this. Thanks, Amber. Thanks, Trina, Robert.
So good to see you, Ken.
You guys are great.
It's been
So.
too long. Thank you.
Absolutely,
It was a pleasure.
Yeah.
No problem.
Well, thanks.
Missed ya.
All right.
Much love, everybody in Soul Tribe.
Yes. And
Much
be the frequency you want to receive.